Happy Monday, everybody. Sheikopedia here. I'm out and about with the kids this morning, but today I want to ask you a question. Actually, that's not quite right. What I want to do is I want to talk to you about a question. And this question isn't really a single question. Really, it's kind of, I'd call it a bushel of questions that all sort of orbit around the same idea. Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it? Then let's break it down. So I've been teaching in higher education in the arts since the fall semester of 2018. And every semester I get at least one student coming forward to ask me a question, and it usually sounds a little something like this. Is art school a scam? I don't know, man. I've been thinking like I should drop out.
You don't really believe in all this art school mumbo jumbo, do you?
Can I go to the bathroom? Okay, that last one, I do get asked that a lot, but that's not the question. Obviously, you've heard a version of the question. And what I think it really boils down to, if we were to look at the common denominator here of what is actually being asked, is art school a scam? Should I drop out? Is what I'm doing worth it? Honestly, is art school necessary to work professionally in the arts? And the answer, it's complicated. And not to be a complete dick about it, but I tend to answer that question with a question of my own.
How dare you?
Okay, kidding. But I do answer the question with a question. And that question that I do ask is, what is it that you want to do? So rather than just going off and rambling here for 15 minutes and not making much sense and looping back to points in conversation I made a little while ago, I'm going to try to break this down in an organized way and let you see kind of my answer to this question as an art professor, as a professional artist, what I've gotten from art school and what I've gotten from, teaching art school, and help you hopefully come to an answer to this question for yourself. So first off on our little tour here of what you actually get from an art education, and you can categorize this one under no duh, but the primary thing that it gives you is an education. So whether you're going to a community college, a state school, or you're paying extra to go to a private art school, something like CalArts, you're getting an education in the arts. You're there to learn from professors who are going to share with you the tools and techniques of the trade that you plan to share with them. And they're also going to share their different experiences, things that they've learned as educators, as working professionals in the arts. This is what your money is going to get you. So coming back to this idea of art school as a scam, I would say no, just on the basis that you are actually getting something in exchange for the money that you are paying them. Whether or not it's worth that, that's a value judgment on your part, and only you can really decide whether the money that you have spent on this education ultimately resulted in actual value. So that's point number one, education. Not to understate it or overstate it too much, but to get that one out up front. When you are paying money for art school, you are actually paying for an education. And as long as you attend classes and pass those classes, you will receive, hopefully, an education. Point number two, and I've struggled with where to place this one because this is actually pretty important, but the second thing that you receive from going to art school is stakes. We're going to be talking about your portfolio pretty soon, but one of the other things that you're going to get out of art school, in addition to the portfolio and of course the diploma, and something that you will continue to develop throughout your professional career as an artist, is your reputation as a professional. And school gives you a very structured and controlled environment in which you can experiment with new techniques and ideas. And if you miss a deadline, while that could mean a poor grade on that particular assignment, it isn't necessarily going to wreck your professional career or establish a reputation for you as somebody who misses important deadlines. Now, it could mean that, but art school is the place to kind of figure these things out while you have the chance to do it. You're coming in as this sort of art caterpillar, and how you emerge as an art butterfly is going to really be based upon the habits and the practices that you are going to pick up when you're in art school. And why I'm saying that the stakes that it gives you room to make mistakes of your own that are not going to have, will hopefully not have, long-lasting consequences for your life as a professional artist. All right, now let's talk about that portfolio. Now, as an artist, your portfolio is something that you are always going to be working on. Doesn't matter what point of your career you're in, whether you're an art student, whether you're a journeyman, whether you are a master, you've been doing this for decades. The portfolio is in a constant state of evolution. You are always adding new pieces to it, and at the same time, you are always removing older pieces from it. Things that no longer represent who you are as an artist. Maybe they're representative of old techniques that you don't use anymore. Maybe they're embarrassingly bad. Doesn't really matter, because whatever you make, it goes into the portfolio at some point. It's likely to come out. And that might just be because you're shifting careers within the arts. Maybe you started things off as a storyboard artist, but now you're moving into visual development, and that storyboard portfolio is not going to serve you any longer in the work that you're shooting for. This also goes towards having more than one portfolio, and that's not a bad thing to have either. Maybe you're good at more than one thing. You could have a portfolio of your comic book work. You could have a portfolio of your digital illustrations. Presently, I make most of my professional living as an artist doing comic book style illustrations, whether that's for actual published comic books or museum exhibits. But I'm also a photographer, so I keep a concurrent portfolio of photographic images that I am updating constantly as I'm shooting more and more pictures and figuring out what it is that I would like to do as a photographer, because that's also very wide and varied. Comic books are kind of an interesting one to get into because it's a lot like filmmaking. You get to tell stories with images, and a comic book artist could span a number of different genres, whether you like doing horror, crime, or superhero stuff. Doesn't matter. Keeping a portfolio of work that caters to the thing that you are most interested in doing is the best thing that you can do for yourself. And art school is a great place to start picking up those habits of how to build a solid portfolio and then keep that portfolio rolling as you move through your academic and into your professional career. Now, I think at the beginning of this that I promised not to turn this into a rambling 15-minute video, so I'm going to try to summarize and recap very concisely here. This is something that I feel very passionately about and that I could talk 4 hours about. But first and foremost, I don't believe that art school is a scam just on the basis that for the money you are going to receive an actual education. Whether or not that education is worth the money that you have paid for it is a conditional value statement and something that you're going to have to determine for yourself. But you buy the ticket, you take the ride. That's just what it is. No anti-quitsies, no take-backsies. Number 2 was stakes and the room to make mistakes. School is going to provide the simulated atmosphere of the professional world in a way that is not going to destroy you ultimately as a professional. That one should probably go without saying, but that is a very, very important one, and one that I struggled with where to add in the overall spectrum here of ultimately the 3 big points that we did cover. And then last but not least, we talked about your portfolio, the evolving creature that it is, and how important that evolution is to your evolution as an artist, because that's who you are. You are your work if you are a professional artist. What people see of you is what they see in your work. And keeping that up to date and fresh, it's the same as taking a shower and combing your hair every day. That one cannot be over or understated as well. The portfolio is paramount, and school is going to give you a lot of resources for building that portfolio with pieces, but also best practices for how to maintain it over the course of your career as an artist. And that's it. I hope I managed to keep this wrangled to under 15 minutes. The like and subscribe buttons are right where I left them after the last video, so please do as you see fit with those, and we'll be back with more Chicapedia real soon. Thank you again. Have a great, stay here, but if it's night where you're at, have a good whatever it is where you're at.